In Hollywood, everyone's performing, but my wife forgot there's always a camera rolling. I discovered her affair the same day I discovered my business partner was laundering money for international criminals. She thought she was trading up for a younger, richer model. Instead, she was signing her name to federal crimes while carrying his child. This isn't just a story about revenge. It's about what happens when the director finally yells, "Cut," on a 15-year performance. Before we begin, let me know where you're tuning in from down in the comments. And if you enjoy this story, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our next tale. Chapter 1. The funny thing about betrayal is how quiet it sounds. No dramatic music swells, no thunder crashes. Just the soft, rhythmic creak of Italian leather as my wife rides my business partner on the couch where we conceived our son. I sat in my private office, staring at the security monitor like it was dailies from a film I never greenlit. Sarah's back arched in a way I hadn't seen in 2 years. David Kwan's wedding ring caught the afternoon light streaming through my office windows, the same windows I'd had specially tinted for privacy. Ironic. My coffee had gone cold 20 minutes ago, right around the time Sarah had walked into the casting room wearing the La Perla lingerie I'd bought her for our anniversary, the red set. She'd said it was too uncomfortable when I'd asked her to wear it last month. Apparently, comfort was relative. A knock rattled my door. 3 short raps, Emma's signature. I closed the laptop with the same care I'd use handling raw film stock. No sudden movements. No visible cracks in the facade. In this business, you learn to keep rolling even when everything's falling apart behind the scenes. Come in. Emma Park entered with another coffee, her usual efficiency wrapped in a Saint Laurent blazer that probably cost more than most people's rent. She moved to set the mug on my desk, and I caught the purple bruise blooming under her Hermes bracelet. She tugged her sleeve down, but not fast enough. "The Crimson Horizon reports," she said, not meeting my eyes, "and Sarah Mrs. Sterling changed the script meetings to private sessions." The pause before private sessions hung between us like a boom mic dipping into frame. "Is that so?" I lifted the fresh coffee, noting how Emma's fingers trembled slightly as she gathered the old mug. "Any particular reason?" Emma's jaw worked like she was chewing words she couldn't swallow. She said Mr. Chen had some character development ideas that needed focused attention. Character development. That's what we were calling it now. I studied Emma's face, the careful mask of professional distance, the way she wouldn't look directly at the laptop even though it was closed. She knew. Of course she knew. Assistants always know. They're the nervous system of Hollywood, feeling every tremor before the earthquake hits. "Emma," I said, my voice steady as a locked-off shot, "how long have you been my assistant?" 3 years, Mr. Sterling. "And in those 3 years, have I ever given you reason to question your position here?" Her eyes finally met mine, and I saw something flicker their pity. Warning. "No, sir." "Then perhaps," I leaned back in my chair, the leather sighing under my weight, "you should focus on your actual job instead of my marriage." The words landed like a slap. Emma's face flushed, her mouth opening and closing like a fish gasping on Malibu sand. "Mr. Sterling, I only meant, that'll be all." She retreated, her heels clicking against the polished concrete floor like a countdown. The door whispered shut behind her. I reopened the laptop. On screen, Sarah was adjusting her dress while David zipped his pants. She kissed him soft, lingering, the kind of kiss she used to give me when I'd come home from location shoots. Then she laughed, throwing her head back, and said something I couldn't hear through the silent feed. But I could read her lips. 20 years of marriage teaches you these things. He doesn't suspect anything. I minimized the window and pulled up Emma's personnel file. 3 years of exemplary service. Stanford MBA, references from Sony and Paramount, smart, dedicated, obviously trying to warn me despite the risk to her career. My finger hovered over the termination button in our HR system. On the security monitor, now just a small window in the corner of my screen, Sarah was on her knees in the casting room. David's hand tangled in her hair, the same honey blonde highlights I'd complimented last week. I clicked terminate. Emma's access would be revoked within the hour. Security would escort her out. Standard procedure for a production company that handled $100 million projects. My phone buzzed. Sarah, working late tonight, baby. Don't wait up. Love you. I texted back. No problem, I'm firing Emma. Incompetence issues. 3 dots appeared immediately. Oh? That's sudden. You know I don't tolerate disloyalty. A pause. Then, you always know best. See you tonight. I stood and walked to my window looking out over the studio lot. Crimson Horizon was shooting on Stage 7, my biggest gamble yet. A $50 million thriller about a man who discovers his perfect life is a lie. The irony wasn't lost on me. Far below, I watched Emma exit the building, a banker's box clutched to her chest. She stopped at a black Tesla in the parking lot, my Tesla, the one I'd let Sarah drive this morning because her Porsche was in the shop. Sarah emerged from the passenger side, adjusting her skirt. David followed from the driver's seat. Even from 10 floors up, I could see Emma's shock, the way she stumbled backward, nearly dropping her box. Sarah said something to Emma. Whatever it was made my former assistant run to her car, tires squealing as she fled the lot. David's hand found its way to my wife's lower back, proprietary and bold, right there in my parking lot, under my window, next to my car. I took a sip of coffee. It was perfect exactly how I liked it. Emma always got it right. The security notification popped up on my screen. Emma Park access revoked. Escort completed. Below, Sarah was leading David back toward the building, her hand drifting to his crotch with the casual ownership of someone who's forgotten they might be watched. But in Hollywood, someone's always watching. That's the first thing you learn in this business. The second thing? Everyone's performing for someone. The third thing, the one they don't teach you in film school? Sometimes the best directors are the ones who let the actors think they're improvising. I pulled up David Kwan's contract for Crimson Horizon. Director approval pending. Sarah had been pushing hard for him these past months. Now I understood why. My phone rang. The caller ID made me straighten. Dr. Martinez, Noah's therapist. Mr. Sterling, we need to talk about your son. Chapter 2. 1 hour earlier. The termination email hit Emma's phone while she was photocopying contracts. Just like that. 3 years reduced to an automated HR message. She stood in the supply closet, reading it twice, 3 times, as if the words might rearrange themselves into something that made sense. But they didn't. They wouldn't. Her hands weren't shaking. That would come later. Right now, there was just a cold clarity, like the moment after a car crash when you're checking if all your limbs still work. Security would be here in 15 minutes. That's how Sterling Productions operated: swift, clean, surgical. She'd seen it happen to others, watched them get marched out with their dignity in bankers' boxes while everyone pretended not to stare. Emma pulled the USB drive from her pocket, weighing it like a grenade with the pin already pulled. 3 weeks of evidence lived on that piece of plastic. Screenshots, recordings, credit card records she'd pulled when Sarah had asked her to help with expense reports. She'd tried to warn him. God, she'd tried. The bruise on her wrist throbbed, a purple reminder of last week's parking garage encounter. Sarah had cornered her by her Honda Civic, a car worth less than Sarah's monthly Botox budget. "You think you're clever," Sarah had said, her French manicure digging into Emma's wrist. "Stanford MBA, working late nights with my husband, making yourself indispensable." "Mrs. Sterling, I don't know what you—" "Stop." Sarah's grip had tightened, wedding ring cutting into skin. "I know you've been snooping. It flagged your access to my calendar, my emails." Emma had wanted to laugh. She didn't need to snoop. Sarah was about as subtle as a Michael Bay explosion, the afternoon yoga classes that required full makeup. The Ritz-Carlton charges on company cards, the way she eye-fucked David Kwan at every production meeting. "Michael values loyalty," Sarah had continued, her voice dropping to a whisper that smelled like Xanax and Chablis. "Imagine how he'd react knowing you've been stealing our personal information. Selling it to competitors, maybe? That's insane. I would never— Your computer says otherwise." Sarah's smile had been sharp as a final cut. "Amazing what people leave on their hard drives. Corporate espionage is a federal crime, isn't it?" The setup was so obvious it was almost insulting. But that was Sarah Sterling. She'd never met a problem she couldn't solve with money or threats, preferably both. Emma had tried one last time this morning, forwarding Michael the security footage links. But the emails bounced back. Sarah had already poisoned that well, probably had IT redirect everything to her own inbox. Now, packing her desk while security loomed in the doorway, Emma felt the weight of every decision that led here. The Stanford MBA that had opened doors now worthless. The recommendation letters she'd need from a boss who'd just fired her. The industry blacklist that Sarah's connections would ensure. 5 minutes, security said, not unkindly. Tom had been here almost as long as she had. He looked uncomfortable, apologetic even. Emma nodded, sliding personal items into the box. The Harvard coffee mug Michael had given her after she'd landed the Fox deal. The picture from the Crimson Horizon wrap party, everyone smiling, unaware of what was brewing beneath the surface. She kept the USB drive in her pocket. Through the window, she watched Sarah's Porsche pull into the lot, except it wasn't the Porsche. It was Michael's Tesla, and David Kwan was driving. The arrogance of it made her stomach turn. Not just the affair, but the brazenness. Using Michael's own car to fuck his wife, parking in his spot, walking through his building like they owned it. Which, she supposed, they thought they did. Tom escorted her down, professional but kind. "I'm sorry about this, Emma. You were one of the good ones." Were. Past tense. Already erased. The California sun hit her face as they exited, that particular Los Angeles light that made everything look like a movie set. Sarah was stepping out of the Tesla, adjusting her skirt in a way that made it clear what she'd been adjusting it from. David followed, his hand immediately finding Sarah's back with the confidence of a man who'd forgotten that consequences existed. They saw her at the same moment. Sarah's face cycled through surprise, satisfaction, and then something else, a cruel delight that made her look younger, hungrier. "Emma," she called out, voice carrying across the parking lot. "I heard the news. So sudden." Emma stopped, the box heavy in her arms. Tom shifted beside her, clearly wanting to keep moving. David smirked, not even trying to hide it. His shirt was untucked on one side, and there was lipstick on his collar. Sarah's shade Rouge Allure, if Emma remembered correctly from the receipts. "These things happen," Sarah continued, walking closer. "Michael's under so much pressure with the new film. Sometimes he makes impulsive decisions. Like trusting the wrong people," Emma said quietly. Sarah's smile widened. "Exactly." The USB drive burned in Emma's pocket. One click would destroy them both. The footage, the receipts, the audio recording of Sarah explicitly discussing her plan to fuck David until he gets me a Warner deal. But Michael had made his choice. He'd chosen the performance over the truth. "Good luck, Mrs. Sterling," Emma said, turning away. "Oh, Emma," Sarah called after her. "You might want to be careful about what you say about Sterling Productions. Non-disclosure agreements can be so aggressive when violated." Emma kept walking. Tom guided her to her Honda, helped her load the box. As she drove away, she glimpsed them in her rearview mirror, Sarah leading David back into the building, her hand sliding down to grab him through his pants, bold as daylight in Michael's parking lot. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "I know what she did to you. I have proof. Meet me at Griffith Observatory tonight, 8 p.m. We can help each other." Emma deleted it, then pulled over and recovered it from her trash. In this town, you learn to keep everything. You never knew when the plot might twist. The bruise on her wrist had turned an ugly yellow-green, like something rotting from the inside out. Just like Sterling Productions. Just like that perfect Hollywood marriage. Her phone rang. Michael's number. She let it go to voicemail, but he didn't leave a message. Just silence, then a click. 20 minutes later, another text from the unknown number. "He's going to need you. Sarah's pregnant. It's not his." Emma pulled into her apartment complex, the USB still weighing down her pocket. Through her apartment window, she could see an eviction notice already taped to her door. Sarah worked fast, but Emma had learned from the best. In Hollywood, the real show was never what happened on screen. It was what happened in the edit. Chapter 3. Michael's POV present. "Your son drew something concerning in therapy today." Dr. Martinez's voice through the phone was carefully modulated, the way people talk when they're handling live grenades. I knew that tone. I'd used it myself when firing directors mid-production. "I'm listening." I closed my laptop, David and Sarah's performance frozen mid-frame. Perhaps it would be better if you came in. Can you make it within the hour? The urgency cut through my calculated calm. Noah was 8. 80-year-olds drew superheroes and dinosaurs, not whatever this was. 20 minutes. I grabbed my keys, passing through the production floor where everyone was bent over their screens, pretending to work while probably updating their resumes. Word traveled fast here. Emma's termination would be all over the assistant network by now, complete with theories and speculation. Sarah texted as I reached my car. Where are you going? Noah's therapist. Some issue with his art project. Want me to come? No. Handle your meeting with David. 3 dots then. You're the best husband. I love you. The lie came so easily to her. Like breathing. Like bleeding. The drive to Dr. Martinez's office in Beverly Hills took 18 minutes. I spent them thinking about Noah's last few weeks, quieter than usual, spending more time in his room. Those nightmares he wouldn't talk about. Uncle David says I'm getting a little brother. That's what he'd said at breakfast last week. I'd been reading trades, only half listening. Did he now? I'd responded, distracted. He said he's going to teach him baseball like he teaches me. I should have paid attention. Should have heard the confusion in his voice, the questions he didn't know how to ask. Dr. Martinez met me in the waiting room, mid-50s, kind eyes, the sort of woman who dedicated her life to fixing what parents broke. Thank you for coming so quickly. She led me to her office, past walls covered with children's artwork, happy families under rainbow skies, stick figures holding hands. Noah's drawing was on her desk. 3 figures, but something was wrong with the composition. Sarah and a dark-haired man, clearly David, though Noah had labeled him Uncle D, stood together, connected by red lines that wrapped around them like veins. I stood apart, separated by harsh black strokes that looked like prison bars, or a cage. This is from today's session, Dr. Martinez said carefully. Noah was asked to draw his family doing something together. I studied the details. Sarah's figure had red marks on her neck. The man's hands were oversized, reaching toward her, and in Sarah's stomach, Noah had drawn a small circle with a question mark inside. The red marks, I said, my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. On my wife's neck. Noah said, and I quote, Uncle David makes those when they wrestle. Mommy says it's a secret game. The room tilted slightly. I gripped the chair arms, knuckles white. He's seen them together. Mr. Sterling, I need to ask some difficult questions. Dr. Martinez's tone shifted, professional concern morphing into something sharper. Has your wife ever left Noah alone with David Kwan? He's my business partner. He's been to the house for dinners, pool parties. But alone? I thought back, mental footage rolling. Sarah started taking Noah to baseball practice last month. Said she wanted to be more involved. David coaches Little League? No. The realization hit like a focus pull, sudden, nauseating clarity. But the practice field is near David's condo. Dr. Martinez pulled out another drawing. This one was worse. Same 3 figures, but now Sarah's belly was clearly enlarged. Noah had written in his shaky 8-year-old handwriting, Mommy's baby from Uncle David. When I asked him about this, Dr. Martinez said quietly, he said Mommy told him it was their secret, that Daddy would be upset if he knew about the baby. My phone buzzed. Sarah. Noah's school called. Said you picked him up early? I showed Dr. Martinez the text. I didn't pick him up. Her face went pale. He was here. The session ended 30 minutes ago. The school van should have. We both stood at the same time. She grabbed her desk phone while I called Noah's cell, the emergency phone we'd given him last Christmas. Straight to voicemail. The van driver says Noah never came out, Dr. Martinez said. They thought you'd picked him up because your wife called to say, my phone rang. Emma's number. I have him, she said before I could speak. He's safe. But Michael, they know you know. Sarah got a call from the therapist's office. She and David are looking for him. Where are you? Griffith Observatory, public place, lots of cameras. Michael. Her voice cracked slightly. David had men waiting at Noah's school, not parents. I recognized one from the Chen import files, the one Sarah had me shred last month. The triads. David's shadow investors, the ones who laundered money through film productions. The one Sarah had been helping him hide from the IRS. "Don't move, I'm coming." "Michael," Emma said quietly. "Noah heard them on the phone. David told Sarah to handle the kid if you found out." She agreed. I looked at Dr. Martinez, who was already pulling out her mandatory reporter paperwork. "Dr. Martinez needs to file a report," I said loud enough for her to hear. "Tell her everything Noah told you." "He's scared," Emma whispered. "He keeps asking why Mommy wants Uncle David to be his new daddy." Through the phone, I heard my son's voice, small and confused. "Is Daddy coming? I want my real daddy." "Tell him I'm coming," I said, already moving toward the door. "Tell him Daddy's coming and everything's going to be okay." But it wasn't. Not yet. First, I had to cut away everything rotten, starting with the woman who'd turned my son into a prop in her performance. Chapter 4. The drive to Griffith Observatory took 32 minutes through Los Angeles traffic. 32 minutes of crystalline clarity, where every lie, every deception, every moment I'd dismissed as paranoia rearranged itself into the truth. Sarah's sudden interest in yoga, the weekend writing retreats that produced no pages, the way she'd flinch when I touched her, claiming she was sore from Pilates, the vasectomy she'd begged me to get 2 years ago because Noah was enough, the pregnancy test I'd found in the trash last month that she'd claimed was her assistance, David's eagerness to direct Crimson Horizon despite it being beneath his usual rate, the way Noah had started calling him Uncle David without prompting, the bruises on Sarah's thighs she'd blamed on a new trainer. Every frame of our marriage played back in my mind, but now I could see the crew in the shot, the rigging, the green screen where I'd imagined reality. Emma's Honda was parked near the observatory entrance. Smart. Public enough to be safe, isolated enough to talk. I found them at the edge of the main observation area. Noah ran to me the moment he saw me, his small body shaking as he buried his face in my stomach. "Daddy, I didn't mean to tell. I didn't mean to break the secret." I knelt down, holding his face in my hands. "You didn't do anything wrong. Secrets that make you feel bad are never worth keeping." Emma stood a few feet away, professional distance even now. But I could see the eviction notice sticking out of her purse, the exhaustion in her eyes, the bruise on her wrist that had turned an ugly yellow. "The USB," she said quietly, pulling it from her pocket. "Everything's on here. Videos, credit card records, recordings. Sarah had me help with expenses, gave me access she shouldn't have. I made copies of everything." I took it, the weight of it insignificant compared to what it contained. "She had David's people waiting at the school," Emma continued. 3 men in a black Escalade. I recognized one from the Chen import paperwork, the stuff Sarah had me shred after copying. Except I kept copies of those, too. "The triads," she nodded. "David owes them $8 million. They've been washing it through the production companies, using Sarah's signatures to move money. She probably doesn't even know she's implicated." Noah tugged on my shirt. "Daddy, why did Mommy say you can't make babies anymore?" "The vasectomy, of course." Sarah's pillow talk with David, not knowing our son was listening. "That's adult stuff," I said carefully. "Not for you to worry about." But Emma caught my eye, understanding immediately. "She doesn't know, does she? About your medical history?" The childhood cancer that had left me sterile, the miracle of IVF that gave us Noah, the fact that my vasectomy was just a scar, a performance for a wife who wanted to ensure no more children. "Show me the videos," I said. Emma handed me her phone. The first one was savage in its clarity, Sarah riding David in our bed, saying things about me, about Noah, about the life she was planning without us. The second was worse, David choking her while she begged for more, calling him Daddy in a voice I'd never heard. The third made me turn the phone away from Noah. "There's more," Emma said quietly. "Audio of her planning to have you committed if you found out. Something about your paranoid episodes and the stress of the business. She's been documenting fake incidents, creating a paper trail." My phone buzzed. Sarah again. "Where are you with Noah? The school is going crazy." I typed back, "Observatory. He wanted to see the stars." "That's so unlike you to just take him. Maybe I'm full of surprises." 3 dots appeared and disappeared several times. Then, "David and I are coming to get him. He has baseball practice." I looked at Emma. How much would it take to make you disappear for a few hours? I don't want your money. This isn't charity. It's a job offer. Special Projects Coordinator. Double your previous salary. First project, keeping my son safe while I handle this. She studied my face. You're going to let them come? David just threatened my son. Sarah chose him over Noah. Yes, I'm going to let them come. I pulled out my phone, started recording. But first, we're going to set the scene. Noah was sitting on a bench drawing in the notebook Emma had bought him from the gift shop. Another family portrait, but this one was different. Just two figures, him and me, standing together under stars. Noah, I said gently, still recording, can you tell Emma what you told Dr. Martinez about Uncle David and Mommy? His little face scrunched up, but he nodded, and in the voice of a child who didn't understand what he'd witnessed, he described the wrestling and the special hugs and the baby that Uncle David put in Mommy's tummy. Emma's face went pale. I stopped recording, sent it to my lawyer with a simple message. Initiate. They're almost here, Emma said, checking her phone. David's posting Instagram stories from the car. The arrogance of it broadcasting their location like they had nothing to hide. Take Noah to your car, I said. Drive to my lawyer's office in Century City. They're expecting you. Michael, you're rehired, effective immediately. Your first task is protecting the CEO's son during a family emergency. She understood. In corporate speak, I'd just given her legal cover for what came next. As they walked away, Noah turned back. Daddy, are you going to be okay? I'm going to be fine, I said. We're going to be fine. Emma's Honda pulled away just as the Tesla arrived. My Tesla, with David driving and Sarah in the passenger seat, the same configuration as this afternoon's performance in my office. They got out, Sarah's face a mask of concern that would have fooled me yesterday. Where's Noah? She asked, looking around. Emma took him. She's rehired, by the way. Sarah's mask slipped for just a moment. You rehired that jealous little... Careful, I said quietly. We're in public. David stepped forward, all false bravado and designer stubble. Mike, buddy, Sarah's worried. You can't just take Noah without telling anyone. Funny thing about taking things without telling anyone, I said, pulling out my phone. Sometimes there are cameras. I played the security footage just 5 seconds, enough for them to see themselves on my office couch, then clicked it off. Sarah's face went white. David's hand moved to his pocket, where the outline of a knife was visible. You're both fired from Crimson Horizon, I said conversationally. The police are waiting at the production office with questions about $8 million in missing funds. The FBI is particularly interested in your Chinese connections, David. You don't know what you're doing, David said, his mask dropping completely. The people I work with, the Chen family tried? Yes, Emma kept excellent records. Every transaction, every threat, every crime you've implicated my wife in. Sarah grabbed my arm. Michael, please, we can work this out. It's not what you think. I looked at her hand on my arm, the wedding ring I'd designed specially, the manicure I'd paid for, the fingers that had touched another man hours ago. It's exactly what I think, I said, removing her hand. But so much worse. You let him near our son. You let Noah think, Noah doesn't know anything, Sarah said quickly. Uncle David's baby, I quoted. He drew pictures, Sarah, in therapy. It's documented. The blood drained from her face completely. I can explain to the judge. Custody hearing is next week. Your pregnancy should be showing by then, though I'm curious how you'll explain it, given my vasectomy. You said you reversed it, she whispered. I lied. The words tasted like freedom. Just like you've been lying. Except my lie protects our son. Yours would have destroyed him. David stepped between us, chest puffed out. You can't prove anything. I don't have to prove it, I said. I just have to show it. Every studio head, every investor, every contact you have will receive a package tomorrow. Security footage, financial records, and a particularly interesting audio file of you discussing how to handle an 80-year-old boy who knew too much. My phone buzzed. Emma, safe at lawyer's office. Noah's okay. Filing emergency custody orders now. You're done, I said, walking toward my Uber. Both of you, in this town, in this business, in my life. Sarah ran after me, mascara finally breaking. Michael, please, I love you. I turned back one last time. No, you love the idea of me, the success, the connections, the lifestyle, but you never saw me. And worse, you never saw Noah. I'm pregnant, she said desperately. I know, I said, and we both know it's not mine. As the Uber pulled away, I saw them in the side mirror, Sarah sobbing, David pacing, both of them realizing their performance had finally been cut. My phone rang. Emma. Your son wants to talk to you, she said. Noah's voice came through, stronger than before. Daddy, Emma says we're going to be a different kind of family now. That's right, buddy. Is it going to be better? I thought about Emma's competence, her loyalty, the way she'd risked everything to save my son, the way Noah trusted her instinctively. Yeah, I said, it's going to be better. Good, he said, because I never liked Uncle David anyway. Sometimes the best plot twists come from 80-year-olds. Chapter 5. 2 hours later, the house felt different knowing it was a stage. Every corner held a performance, Sarah's yoga mat where she'd stretched after David, not before class. The kitchen counter where she'd prepped meals while texting him. Our bedroom, which I now couldn't enter without seeing shadows of their bodies. She came home an hour after me, mascara stained but reapplied, wearing the kind of dress meant to remind me of better times. The Hervé Leger bandage dress from our anniversary 5 years ago, back when her performances were just for me. We need to talk, she said, voice carefully modulated. I was sitting in my study, Noah's drawings spread across my desk. Evidence and art, same thing, really. The lawyers will handle the talking, I said, not looking up. She moved into the room like she was hitting marks, each step calculated. The dress was tighter than I remembered. Or maybe she was already showing. Michael, please. One conversation. You owe me that much. I owe you? I looked up then, really looked at her. Even now, even knowing everything, she was beautiful. That was the tragedy of it. I'd cast the perfect leading lady for a role she never wanted to play. 15 years, she said. Noah, our life together. Doesn't that earn me 5 minutes? I leaned back, studying her like a scene that wasn't quite working. You're pregnant. Her hand went to her stomach, protective. Yes. How far along? 6 weeks. 6 weeks. I counted backward. The Cannes Film Festival. She'd gone alone, said she needed space to work on her screenplay. David had coincidentally been there for the Asian market screenings. Boy or girl? The question threw her. I don't know yet. David wants a boy, I said conversationally. He told Noah he'd teach him baseball. Your son, not ours. She flinched. Noah misunderstood. Noah drew pictures. Would you like to see them? The one where David's hands are around your throat is particularly detailed. We were careful. He saw enough. I pulled up my phone, showing her one of the security screenshots. Everyone's going to see enough. Sarah's mask finally cracked completely. You bastard! You cold, calculating bastard! You're really going to destroy me over this? No, I said. You destroyed yourself. I'm just documenting it. She laughed, bitter and sharp. That's what this is to you? Another production? Another story to package and sell? Actually, yes. Crimson Horizon needs a rewrite. The original ending where the husband forgives his wife felt false. Audiences hate that kind of weakness. Is that what you think love is? Weakness? No. I think love is what I felt for you for 15 years while you were performing it. She stepped closer, and I could smell her perfume Chanel No. 5, the one she knew I loved. Another costume, another prop. I did love you, she said quietly. In the beginning. When? Before you became this. Before every dinner was a networking opportunity and every vacation was a location scout. Before you loved your work more than your family. So you fucked my business partner. I fucked someone who saw me. David doesn't see you, Sarah. He sees opportunity. Why do you think he picked you? The producer's wife. Access to projects, signatures on contracts. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and I saw David's name. Let me guess, I said. He wants to know if you've convinced me, if the performance is working. She didn't deny it. Answer him, I said. Tell him you need more time. Tell him I'm wavering. Why would I? Because if you don't, the video of you two in Noah's playroom goes live in an hour. She went white. We never third Tuesday of last month. You thought I was in New York. Noah was at school, except the nanny cam was still recording. She typed quickly, then looked up. Done. He thinks you're considering counseling. Good. Now take off the dress. Excuse me? The dress. It's costume from a better movie. You don't get to wear it anymore. She stared at me, then slowly reached for the zipper. Is this what you want? To humiliate me? No. I want you to be honest. For once, just be honest. The dress pooled at her feet. She stood there in La Perla lingerie, not the red set from today, but black. New. Probably bought this afternoon for this exact scene. The truth? She said. Fine. The truth is I've been fucking David for 4 months. The truth is he makes me feel 25 again. The truth is when he touches me, I don't think about tax returns or private school applications or your mother's passive-aggressive Christmas cards. Keep going. The truth is I'm pregnant with his child, and I don't know what to do about it because he wants me to get rid of it. But I'm 38, and this might be my last chance. The truth is, he's using you. The truth is, I don't care. We stood there. Director and actress, husband and wife, strangers who'd shared a bed for 15 years. The truth is, she said, voice breaking, I destroyed everything for someone who doesn't love me any more than you do. My phone rang. Emma. Answer it, Sarah said. Your efficient little assistant, your upgrade. I answered. Yeah? Michael, we have a problem. David's at the lawyer's office. He's demanding to see Noah, saying he has parental concerns. Security's holding him, but call the police. He's violating a restraining order that goes into effect. I checked my watch. Now, I hung up. Sarah was staring at me. You planned all of this, she said. Every beat, every moment. I'm a producer. It's what I do. What about Noah? What happens to him in your perfectly produced life? He gets a father who's present, a stable home, and eventually, when he's older, the truth about his mother. You're going to turn him against me. No, you did that when you chose David over him. She picked up the dress, holding it against herself like armor. I want shared custody. You'll get supervised visits, if you're lucky. I'm his mother. You're pregnant with another man's child, a man with triad connections who threaten Noah's safety. The court will be very interested in that. Her phone buzzed again. She looked at it, and her face changed. What? I asked. She showed me the screen. A text from David. If you don't get me the Crimson Horizon files in the next hour, we're both going down. They know about the money. What money? I asked. Sarah sank into a chair, suddenly looking every one of her 38 years. I've been helping him move funds, signatures, transfers. He said it was for the film, but you knew better. I suspected. How much? 12 million. Maybe more. I felt the fury rise again, cold and clarifying. You didn't just betray me. You implicated me, my company, everything I've built. I didn't mean get dressed, I said. We're going to the FBI. Michael, no. If I testify against him, then you might avoid prison, might keep visitation rights with Noah, might have a chance at a life after this. She stood, the dress falling again. You're enjoying this? No, I said honestly. I'm surviving it. There's a difference. As she dressed, I thought about Emma and Noah at the lawyer's office, building the first scene of whatever came next. About David, probably in handcuffs by now. About the baby Sarah carried, innocent of all of this. The baby, I said. What will you do? She paused at the door. I don't know. David doesn't want it. You won't help raise it. I can't do it alone. You won't be alone. You'll have lawyers, court dates, and supervised visits. But Sarah? She turned. The performance is over. Whatever you decide, make it as yourself, not as whoever you thought I wanted you to be. She left then, and I heard her heels on the stairs, the garage door opening, the Tesla starting. My Tesla, one more thing she'd taken without asking. My phone buzzed. Emma, David's been arrested. Noah's asking for you. I looked around my study, the awards, the posters, the evidence of a successful life. Tomorrow it would all be in the trades, the scandal, the arrest, the divorce. But tonight my son needed me. I grabbed my keys and headed for the door, leaving the house that had been our stage. In the driveway, Sarah had left the Hervé Léger dress, crumpled on the concrete like a final curtain. I stepped over it and drove away. The performance was over. The real work was just beginning. Chapter 6. The morning after watching my wife suggest we try for another baby, knowing she was already carrying David Kwan's child, I made breakfast. Scrambled eggs, the way Noah liked them. Slightly runny, with cheese that stretched like suspension cables when you lifted the fork. Sarah's coffee, dark roast with oat milk, even though I wanted to pour drain cleaner in it instead. Everything normal. Everything perfect. Because that's what you do when you're producing the most important film of your life. You keep the cameras rolling even when the set's on fire. "Morning, buddy," I said as Noah padded into the kitchen, his Minecraft pajamas twisted from sleep. "Morning, Dad." He climbed onto his stool, the one we'd bought at the Pottery Barn in Manhattan Beach last Christmas, back when I thought our family was real. Sarah appeared 10 minutes later, silk robe over La Perla lingerie, the black set from last night's performance. Her hair was perfect, makeup subtle but there. She'd been up for at least an hour texting him. "Smells amazing," she said, kissing my cheek. Her lips were cold. "Family breakfast," I said, sliding her plate across the marble island. "Been too long since we did this." She studied me over her coffee cup, those green eyes searching for cracks in my performance. I gave her nothing. 20 years in Hollywood teaches you to smile while your world burns. My phone buzzed. Emma Park, Dee's wife filed papers, claiming infidelity, hidden assets. She needs money for lawyers. I typed back under the table, "Send her $50K anonymously. Crypto." Sarah noticed my typing. "Work already?" "Crimson Horizon needs a new director," I said casually, deleting Emma's thread. "David Kwan keeps pushing for it, but I'm not sure he's right." The way she stiffened was barely visible, just a micro-expression, the kind we'd catch in dailies and debate over, but I saw it. "David's talented," she said carefully. "His last film did well in Asia." "Money laundering does well in Asia, too," I said, watching her reflection in the coffee pot. "Doesn't mean I want it in my production." Noah looked up from his eggs. "What's money laundering?" "Cleaning dirty money to make it look clean," I explained. "Like when someone does bad things to get money, then pretends it came from somewhere good." "Like lying?" "Exactly like lying." Sarah's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, and I saw David's contact photo before she flipped it over. The bastard was shirtless in the picture. "You should give him a chance," she said, trying for casual. "David, I mean, for the director position." "Maybe," I said. "I'll think about it." I stood to clear plates, brushing past her. She smelled like sex and Chanel, not from last night with me, but from this morning, probably in our shower while I made breakfast. The security footage would confirm it later. "I have therapy today," Noah announced. "Dr. Martinez wants to see my new drawings." Sarah went rigid. "What drawings?" "The ones about our family," Noah said innocently. "She really likes the one with Uncle David." I watched Sarah's face cycle through panic, calculation, and forced calm. "That's nice, sweetheart." "Actually," I said, "I'll take him today. You have that yoga class, right?" I could skip. No, you never miss yoga." I smiled at her. "It's done so much for your flexibility." The insult landed perfectly subtle enough that Noah wouldn't catch it, clear enough that she would. Her jaw tightened. My phone buzzed again. "Emma, check your secure email. Now." "I need to grab something from the study," I said. "Noah, go brush your teeth." In my study, I opened the encrypted email. Emma had sent security footage from David's condo building. Sarah entering at 6 a.m. this morning, leaving at 7:15, time-stamped, authenticated. But that wasn't the interesting part. The interesting part was the second attachment, David's medical records from 2011, a pushed girlfriend, a lost pregnancy, a police report that disappeared after a $50,000 payment. Sarah knocked on the door. "Michael?" I closed the laptop. "Yeah?" She entered, closing the door behind her. "We need to talk about last night." "Which part? The lingerie?" The suggestion we try for a baby, or the fact that you're already pregnant? She stepped closer, playing the seductress even now. I'm late, that's all. Stress from the production. The production? Or producing David's offspring? Her hand cracked across my face before I saw it coming. The slap echoed off the soundproofed walls. Don't, she said, voice shaking. Don't you dare! I touched my cheek, feeling the heat. Truth hurts? You want truth? She laughed, bitter as burnt coffee. The truth is, you haven't touched me in 6 months without scheduling it first. The truth is, you treat me like another acquisition, another trophy for your fucking shelf. So you let David treat you like a whore instead? Another slap. This one I let happen, even though I saw it coming. I'm done, she said. We're done. No, I said calmly. We're not done until I say we're done. You want a divorce? File. But remember, California's a community property state. Half of everything, including the debt from David's money laundering. Her face went white. What are you talking about? $12 million, routed through offshore accounts with your signature on them. You've been a very bad girl, Sarah, or very stupid. Maybe both. You're lying. I pulled out my phone, showed her one document, just enough to prove I wasn't bluffing. Emma kept excellent records before you had me fire her. Emma? Sarah's voice pitched higher. That little bitch is rehired as of this morning. Special projects coordinator. You can't. I can. I did. She starts Monday. Sarah backed toward the door. David will what? He's broke, Sarah. His wife is taking everything. The only job he can get is the one I give him. I smiled, cold as a Hollywood handshake. Guess he really needs that director position now. She stared at me like she was seeing me for the first time. Maybe she was. You knew, she whispered. Last night, you knew. I know everything, I said. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Her phone buzzed. David again. She looked at it, then at me. Answer him, I said. Tell him I'm considering him for director. Tell him we need to meet, all 3 of us. Professional dinner. Why would I? Because if you don't, Noah's next therapy session will include a discussion about why Mommy has bruises on her throat, the kind that match Uncle David's hands. She typed quickly, hands shaking. Done. Good girl, I said, the condescension deliberate. Now go to yoga. You need to maintain that flexibility. David seems to appreciate it. She fled, dignity in tatters. I heard her car start, tires squealing as she left. My phone rang immediately. Emma. She's heading to David's, Emma said. I have eyes on his building. Of course she is. Michael, be careful. David's connected to people who make bodies disappear. Bodies? I laughed, dark and hollow. Emma, I'm already dead. Have been for months. This is just the funeral. That's not funny. It's not meant to be. I looked out my window at the pool where Noah had learned to swim, the garden where Sarah and I had renewed our vows, the life we'd built on lies. But don't worry, the resurrection scene is coming. What do you need me to do? Keep watching, document everything, and Emma? Yeah? Thank you, for trying to warn me, for protecting Noah, for everything. A pause. It's my job. No, I said. It's not. Not anymore. I hung up and went to find my son. He was in his room drawing another picture. This one showed 3 figures again, but now the dark-haired man was surrounded by red like fire or blood. What's this one? I asked. The bad man going away, Noah said simply. So it can just be us again. Kids know. They always know. Hey, buddy, I said, kneeling beside him. You know I love you, right? No matter what happens? I know, Dad. He kept coloring. Are you and Mom getting divorced? The question hit like a gaffer's hook to the chest. Why would you ask that? Tommy's parents got divorced. He said they acted like you and Mom first, pretending to be happy but really being mad. We're working through some things. Is it because of Uncle David? I chose my words carefully. Uncle David is Mom's friend. Sometimes adults have complicated friendships. I don't like him, Noah said, adding more red to his drawing. He smells weird and his hands are mean. Mean how? Just mean. Like they hurt things. My phone buzzed. Security alert from the house. Sarah was in the master bedroom on the phone, pacing. The audio was muffled, but I caught fragments. Knows everything. Have to be careful. The money. I screenshotted it, added it to the file marked Evidence. Dad? Noah looked up at me. Whatever happens, we'll be okay, right? I pulled him into a hug, smelling his little boy smell of shampoo and innocence. We'll be better than okay, buddy, I promise. Through his window, I could see Sarah's Porsche pulling back into the driveway. She sat there for a full minute before getting out, probably steeling herself for the next performance. But she didn't know the script had changed. She didn't know that in this version, the husband wins. Chapter 7. 3 days later, David Kwan's desperation smelled like cologne and flop sweat. He sat across from me at Mastro's in Beverly Hills, the power lunch spot where deals were made and careers were murdered over Wagyu and wine. Sarah sat between us, playing the supportive wife while her lover tried to convince me he deserved to direct my $50 million baby. The Asian market is crucial, David was saying, cutting into his steak like he was performing surgery. I can deliver numbers there that no one else can. Through your connections? I asked innocently. He paused, knife hovering. Through my relationships with distributors. Ah, yes, relationships. I glanced at Sarah. Those are important. She took a long sip of wine, her third glass, and it was barely noon. The stress was showing. Her concealer couldn't quite hide the dark circles, and her hands shook slightly when she thought no one was looking. David's previous film grossed $40 million in China alone, she said, backing his play like a good co-conspirator. Impressive, I said. Though I heard there were some complications with the money flow. David's jaw tightened. Every international production has banking challenges. Banking, I repeated. Is that what we're calling it? My phone buzzed. Emma, texting from 2 tables over where she sat with her laptop, pretending to work. His ex-wife just walked in. I didn't look up, but in my peripheral vision, I saw her Jennifer Kwan, soon-to-be's wife, dressed like she was attending her own funeral. Black Chanel suit, Hermes bag, the uniform of scorned Beverly Hills wives with good lawyers. David saw her at the same moment. His face went white, then red, then a sort of mottled purple that clashed with his Armani shirt. "Excuse me," he said, starting to rise. "Sit," I commanded, with the same tone I used for incompetent grips. Walking away would be rude. Jennifer approached our table with the measured stride of a woman who'd practiced this moment in the mirror. Her eyes were focused entirely on Sarah. "So you're the latest one," she said, voice carrying across the restaurant. "Though latest implies there will be more after you." Sarah's mask slipped. "I don't know what you're—" "Don't." Jennifer pulled out her phone. "I have photos, videos, credit card receipts. You're not even creative same hotels I caught him at with the last 3. "Jennifer," David started, reaching for her arm. She jerked away. "Don't touch me!" "Not after what you did." "What did he do?" I asked, all innocent curiosity. Jennifer looked at me then, and I saw recognition dawn. "You don't know, do you? About the baby?" "Jennifer, stop," David warned, his voice dropping to something dangerous. "The baby he killed," she continued, louder now. The restaurant was watching, forks suspended midway to mouths. "When he pushed me down the stairs because I found out about his debts. His real debts. The kind you pay with blood if you're late." Sarah's wine glass slipped, shattering on the marble floor. Red wine spread like blood across white stone. "That was an accident," David said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Like Thailand was an accident?" Jennifer laughed, bitter and sharp. "Like the actress in Vancouver, the writer in Seoul? All accidents?" I pulled out my phone, started recording. "Please continue." David grabbed for my phone, but I was faster, pulling it back. "You're recording this?" he snarled, mask fully off now. "California's a 2-party consent state," I said calmly. "But this is a public space with no expectation of privacy. Ask any entertainment lawyer." Jennifer leaned closer to Sarah. "He likes to choke them, during sex, sometimes after, sometimes until they pass out, sometimes until they wish they had." Sarah's hand went unconsciously to her throat, where her scarf hid the bruises I'd seen on the security footage. "You're lying," Sarah whispered. "Am I?" Jennifer pulled out her phone, swiped to a photo. This was me 2 years ago. Look familiar? Sarah looked and went pale. I caught a glimpse bruises in the exact pattern as Sarah's, like fingerprints of violence. He'll get bored, Jennifer continued. Or you'll get pregnant. Either way, it ends the same, with you broken and him moving on to the next one who thinks she's special. You bitter bitch. David stood, fists clenched. Sit down, I said quietly, or security will make you. He looked around, realized how many people were watching, phones out, probably live streaming this meltdown to TMZ. Sarah, Jennifer said, almost gently now, I know you think you love him. I know he promised you everything. But look at me. Really look. This is your future. Sarah was crying now, makeup running in black rivers. I need to go. She stood unsteady. David reached for her, but she flinched away. Don't, she said. Don't touch me. She fled toward the bathroom. Jennifer watched her go with something like pity. Mr. Sterling, she said, turning to me, I'm sorry about your wife, but she made her choice. Everyone makes choices, I agreed. Speaking of which, David, you're not getting the director position. His face contorted with rage. You can't, after everything Sarah said. Sarah says a lot of things, like I love you, and till death do us part. Doesn't make them true. You fucking... He lunged across the table. I didn't move. Didn't need to. Restaurant security was already there, grabbing his arms, pulling him back. You're done in this town, David spat, struggling against the guards. You know who I work with? You know what they'll do to you? The Chen family triad? I said loudly, clearly, making sure every phone captured it. The ones you launder money for through film productions? Those associates? The restaurant went silent. David's face went from purple to white. You don't know what you're talking about. USB drives are wonderful things, I said, standing, straightening my jacket. So much data in such a small package. Financial records, emails, recorded conversations. The FBI particularly enjoyed the one where you discussed handling an 80-year-old boy who knew too much. Michael. His voice changed, became pleading. Let's discuss this privately. Like you discuss things privately with my wife? On my couch? In my bed? With my son in the next room? Emma appeared at my elbow, laptop bag in hand. The FBI is outside, she said quietly. They'd like a word with Mr. Kwan. Through the window, we could all see the black SUVs, the agents in their uniforms of different authority. You set me up, David said, realization dawning. No, I said. You set yourself up. I just provided the stage. The agents entered, badges out. That walk they must teach at Quantico, purposeful but unhurried, like sharks who know the seal can't escape. David Kwan, the lead agent said. We need you to come with us. I want a lawyer. You'll need several, the agent said. The list of charges is extensive. As they cuffed him, David looked at me with pure hatred. Sarah's pregnant, he said loudly. With my child. How's that feel knowing your wife is carrying another man's baby? The restaurant gasped collectively. Someone definitely got that on video. I smiled, cold as a critic's review. Like relief, I said, because now everyone knows what kind of woman I married and what kind of man she chose over her family. They dragged him out, David fighting the whole way, screaming about setups and lawyers and connections. The restaurant slowly returned to normal, though everyone was typing furiously on their phones. Jennifer stood to leave, then paused. The baby, she said quietly. Sarah's baby. It won't survive him. None of them do. What do you mean? He put something in their drinks, when he's done with them, when they're pregnant. Something that makes them lose the baby, but looks natural. She pulled a pill bottle from her purse, prescription label torn off. I kept these, from when I was pregnant, before the stairs. I took the bottle, read the remaining label fragment. Misoprostol, an abortion drug. Have them test Sarah's blood, Jennifer said. If she's been feeling sick lately, dizzy, cramping, he's already started. She left then, heels clicking across marble like a countdown. Emma sat down across from me. Sarah's still in the bathroom. Should I let her be? I said. She needs to process this. The FBI really arrested him. They did. The money laundering charges will stick? Like gaffer tape. Emma studied me. You planned all of this. The restaurant, Jennifer showing up, the FBI. I'm a producer, I said. I produce outcomes. And Sarah? Through the bathroom door, we could hear sobbing, ugly, broken sounds that probably matched her insides. Sarah made her choices, I said. Now she gets to live with them. That's cold. That's survival. My phone buzzed. Noah's school. There had been an incident. We need to go, I told Emma. Now. Chapter 8. The incident at Noah's school was a black Escalade parked outside for 2 hours, engine running, windows tinted past legal limits. The same Escalade from Emma's surveillance photos, David's friends, the ones who collected debts in blood and dumped bodies in the Pacific. We're implementing lockdown procedures, Principal Harrison said, her office windows now covered with emergency blinds. The police are here, but they can't do anything about a parked car, I finished. I know. Emma stood by the window, peering through a crack in the blinds. They're gone now. Left right after the patrol car showed up. They'll be back, I said. David's arrested, not dead. His associates still think they can leverage this. Noah sat in the corner, reading a book, pretending not to listen, but his eyes weren't moving across the pages. Mr. Sterling, the principal said carefully. Perhaps Noah should take a few days off, until this situation resolves. You mean, until my wife's boyfriend's triad connection stopped threatening my son? She flinched. I wouldn't phrase it quite like, how would you phrase it? I stood, decision made. Actually, don't answer. Noah's taking an indefinite leave, family emergency. Dad? Noah looked up, worried. Pack your things, buddy. We're going on an adventure. 20 minutes later, we were in Emma's Honda. My cars were too recognizable. Noah in the back with his iPad, Emma driving, me watching mirrors for tails. Where to? Emma asked. The production office. I need you to wire David's office. David's in federal custody, but his files aren't, and someone's going to come looking for them. Emma glanced at me. You want to catch whoever comes? I want to know who we're really dealing with. I turned to check on Noah. He had his headphones on, lost in Minecraft. David's small time, but whoever he owes $8 million to, they're the real problem. The production office was mostly empty. Word of David's arrest had spread, and everyone was either at lunch or working from home permanently. Emma went to IT, grabbed a box of upgrades, and we headed to David's office. Noah, stay here, I said, setting him up in the conference room. Don't open the door for anyone except Emma or me. Is Mom okay? He asked suddenly. I knelt beside him. Mom's going through some stuff right now. Because of Uncle David? Because of choices she made. Bad choices? Yeah, buddy. Bad choices. He nodded solemnly. I make bad choices sometimes, too, like when I drew on the wall. This is different. Because she's a grown-up? Because she knew better. David's office still smelled like his cologne Tom Ford, the one Sarah had bought him for his birthday. I knew because I'd seen the credit card charge, back when I still thought she was buying gifts for clients. Emma worked efficiently, placing cameras in smoke detectors, mics in phone handsets, transmitters in picture frames. This is technically illegal, she said, zip-tying cables behind his desk. So is money laundering and threatening children. Two wrongs don't make evidence admissible in court. I know, this isn't for court. She looked up from where she was installing a keystroke logger on his computer. Then what's it for? Leverage. My phone buzzed. Sarah, finally, where are you? Where's Noah? The school called. I texted back. He's safe. Are you? 3 dots appeared and disappeared several times. Then, I'm at home. Michael, we need to talk. Tonight. After Noah's asleep. David's been arrested. I know. I was there, remember? A long pause. Then, did you know Jennifer would be there? I didn't answer. Let her wonder. Emma finished with the cameras, started on David's files. These are encrypted, she said, pulling drives from his desk. But I know a guy who can... The door opened. We both froze. A man entered, Asian, late 40s, expensive suit that didn't hide the prison tattoos creeping up his neck. He saw us and smiled, the kind of smile that preceded violence. "Mr. Sterling," he said, accent slight but noticeable, "and the lovely Emma. We've been watching you." "Who's we?" I asked, moving slightly to block Emma. "Mr. Kwan's business partners. We're concerned about our investment." "Your investment is in federal custody." "No, Mr. Kwan was just the middleman. Our investment is in your production company. $12 million to be specific." "I don't know anything about—" "Your wife's signatures say otherwise." He pulled out a folder, spread documents on David's desk, Sarah's signature on everyone. She was very helpful, moving our money. Very cooperative. Emma was recording with her phone. I could see it in her pocket. Camera peeking out. "What do you want?" I asked. "The same thing we wanted before. Clean money. Mr. Kwan promised returns through your films. We expect you to honor that promise." "David made promises he couldn't keep." "Then you'll keep them for him." The man stepped closer. "Or your son's school might have more than just parked cars to worry about." The rage that filled me was cold, crystalline, pure. "You just threatened my child." "I stated a fact. How you interpret it is your choice." "Here's another fact," I said, pulling out my phone. "This conversation is being live-streamed to my lawyer and the FBI agent handling David's case. Say hello, Agent Martinez." I turned the phone. On screen, Agent Martinez waved from her office. "Hello, Mr. Chen, or should I say Chen Wei, enforcer for the Taipei Triple Dragon Triad, wanted in 3 countries for extortion, money laundering, and murder." The man's smile died. "You're bluffing." "Check your phone," Agent Martinez said through my speaker. "You should be receiving visitors right about now." Through the window, black SUVs screeched into the parking lot. Agents poured out, weapons drawn. Chen Wei looked at me with something like respect. "You set this up." "I'm a producer," I said. "I produce outcomes." "This isn't over." "Yes, it is. You're going to prison. David's going to prison. And my wife's going to learn what it costs to betray everything for nothing." The agents burst in, shouting commands. Chen Wei went down without fighting, smart enough to know when the scene was over. As they cuffed him, he looked at me. "Your wife doesn't know, does she? About the pills David gave her?" "What pills?" "The ones to kill the baby. He didn't want it. Said it was a complication." He smiled. Cruel now. "Check her purse. Little white pills, unmarked bottle. She's been taking them for days, thinking they're vitamins." They dragged him out, but his words lingered like smoke from a fired gun. Emma grabbed my arm. "Michael, if that's true, call 911, I said, already running. "Tell them possible poisoning. Send them to my house." I ran to the conference room, grabbed Noah. "We have to go, buddy." "Is Mom okay?" I couldn't answer because I didn't know. For all my planning, all my control, I'd missed this. David wasn't just getting rid of an inconvenience. He was erasing evidence. And Sarah, who'd betrayed me, who'd chosen him, who'd destroyed our family, was about to pay the ultimate price for trusting the wrong man. The irony should have been satisfying, but all I felt was the terrifying possibility that I might be too late. Chapter 9. 6 hours later, the emergency room at Cedars-Sinai looked like a movie set, too bright, too clean, too full of beautiful people pretending their problems were just plot points. Sarah lay in bed, 3 I free in her arm, face pale as the hospital sheets. The doctors had pumped her stomach, found enough misoprostol to induce miscarriage in a woman twice her size. David had been slowly poisoning her for a week, hiding it in the prenatal vitamins he'd thoughtfully provided. The baby was still alive, somehow. "The fetal heartbeat is strong," Dr. Patel said, studying the ultrasound. "But there's been damage. We won't know how much until it's born or it's not," Sarah finished, voice hollow. Noah was in the waiting room with Emma, playing on his iPad, protected from this particular trauma. But he knew something was wrong. Kids always know. "Why?" Sarah asked, not looking at me. "Why did you save me?" "I didn't save you. I saved the baby. It didn't choose any of this." "The baby that's not yours." "No, but it's Noah's sibling. Half, anyway. She turned to me then, and I saw something I'd never seen in 15 years of marriage, genuine surprise. You'd raise David's child? I'd make sure it's raised. Whether that's with you depends on choices you haven't made yet. Her phone buzzed on the bedside table. I saw the screen 17 missed calls from reporters, 3 from her mother, 1 from her lawyer. The video from the restaurant, she said. It's everywhere. #1 trending on Twitter, I confirmed. Congratulations. You're famous. Infamous. In this town, same difference. Dr. Patel excused herself, leaving us alone with the beeping machines and the weight of destroyed vows. I fucked up, Sarah said quietly. Spectacularly. I threw away everything. Yes. For someone who was poisoning me. The metaphor writes itself. She laughed, bitter and broken. You must hate me. Hate requires passion, I said. I don't have any left for you. Then why are you here? Because in 3 hours I'm announcing the new director for Crimson Horizon at the Golden Globes nomination party, and you're going to be there, playing the devoted wife one last time. She stared at me. You can't be serious. David's arrest is all over the news. Our marriage is trending. The production is in jeopardy. We need to control the narrative. The narrative? She struggled to sit up. Michael, I almost died. The baby needs its mother to have health insurance, which requires you to stay married to me for at least another 60 days until the divorce is final. You've already filed? Emma filed the paperwork an hour ago. I stood, straightening my jacket. The party's at the Beverly Hilton. Black tie. Try to look like you haven't been fucking my business partner. Michael. Or don't come. But if you don't, the prenup kicks in. The infidelity clause is very specific. You get nothing. You documented everything. Emma documented everything. I just produced it. I headed for the door, then stopped. Sarah? The baby, if it survives, it's innocent. Remember that when you're deciding whether to keep it. Would you want me to? I want Noah to have a chance at a sibling who isn't destroyed by its parents' choices. I left her there, surrounded by machines, keeping score of her vital signs. Emma was in the waiting room, Noah asleep with his head on her lap. She looked up as I approached, and something passed between us, not attraction, not yet, but understanding. How is she? Emma asked. Alive, pregnant, contemplating her choices. And you? Getting ready for a party. She studied me. You're really going through with this? The show must go on. Noah stirred, opened his eyes. Dad, is Mom okay? She's going to be fine, buddy. Can I see her? Tomorrow. Tonight you're staying with Emma. Emma looked surprised. I am? If that's okay, I need someone I trust with him. Of course. Noah sat up, rubbing his eyes. Are you and Mom getting divorced? The question hung there like a boom mic in frame. Yes, I said. We are. Because of Uncle David? Because sometimes people grow in different directions. Will I still see Mom? Yes. Will I still see you? I knelt beside him. You'll see me every day, I promise. What about Emma? We both looked at her. She was trying to appear professional, but I caught the slight blush. Emma's going to be around a lot, I said. If that's okay with you. Noah considered this. She makes better pancakes than Mom. Emma laughed, surprising herself. How do you know that? You brought them that one morning, when Mom was at yoga. He made air quotes around yoga, and my heart broke a little more. We should go, Emma said, standing. The party starts in 2 hours. You're coming? I asked. You said you needed someone you trust. The Beverly Hilton ballroom was packed with Hollywood's finest pretenders. Everyone knew about David's arrest, Sarah's affair, our public implosion. But they all smiled, air-kissed, pretended this was just another Thursday night in Los Angeles. Sarah arrived 40 minutes late, wearing Valentino that hid the hospital bracelet she'd refused to remove. She looked beautiful and destroyed, like a Greek tragedy in designer heels. Michael, she said, taking my offered arm. I'm here. Smile, I said. Everyone's watching. We worked the room like professionals. She laughed at the right moments. I kept her champagne glass full of ginger ale. We played the couple surviving scandal. Then it was time. I took the stage, the lights hot and familiar. Thank you all for coming. I know it's been an interesting day. Nervous laughter rippled through the crowd. As you've heard, David Kwan is no longer with the production. Creative differences. More laughter, darker this time. But Crimson Horizon continues. Art from adversity and all that. Sarah stood at the edge of the stage, her hand on her stomach. The gesture was unconscious, protective, maternal even. The new director, I continued, is someone who understands betrayal, paranoia, the thin line between love and destruction, someone who's lived it. The room held its breath. I'll be directing Crimson Horizon myself. Gasps, applause, the sound of 100 phones typing. And my co-producer, I said, finding Emma in the crowd, will be Emma Park, whose dedication to this project has been invaluable. Emma's face was pure shock. She hadn't known this was coming. Sarah, though Sarah knew exactly what this meant. I was cutting her out, publicly, permanently. The production was my baby, and she was just the surrogate who'd tried to sell it. To Crimson Horizon, I raised my glass. To cutting away what's rotten to save what matters. Everyone drank, even Sarah with her ginger ale. As I left the stage, she grabbed my arm. That was cruel. That was business. Emma? Really? She's loyal, competent, trustworthy. Everything you weren't. You're falling for her. No, I said. I'm rebuilding. There's a difference. Sarah looked across the room at Emma, who was being congratulated by other producers, handling the attention with grace Sarah never had. She's younger, Sarah said. She's better. At business? At everything that matters. My phone buzzed. Security alert from the house. Someone was in our bedroom. I looked at the feed. Sarah's sister packing Sarah's things, so she'd already chosen her side. Your sister's at the house, I said. I asked her to get my things. Taking evidence? Taking clothes. Despite what you think, I'm not stupid enough to destroy evidence while the FBI is watching. Just stupid enough to fuck David Kwan. She flinched. I loved him. You loved the idea of him. Young, dangerous, promising you things I wouldn't. Like what? Like the illusion that you were still 25 and full of potential. The words landed like a slap. Around us, the party continued, oblivious to our private war. I'm keeping the baby, she said suddenly. Good. Even though it's his? Biology doesn't determine destiny. Look at Noah, he's nothing like either of us. He's exactly like you. Cold, calculating, always watching. Then I've taught him well. She turned to leave, then stopped. Michael? What if I'd chosen differently? That night, when I suggested we try for a baby, what if I'd meant it? What if I'd chosen us? I considered the question, the alternate timeline where she hadn't been lying, where the baby was mine, where our marriage was real. Then we'd be having a different conversation, I said. But you didn't choose us. You chose him. And here we are. She nodded, accepting the verdict. Take care of Noah. I always have. And Emma, she started, then stopped. Never mind. She's smart. She'll take care of herself. Sarah left then, walking through the party like a ghost at her own funeral. People parted for her, whispered about her, but no one stopped her. In Hollywood, scandal was contagious. Emma appeared at my elbow. Co-producer? You've earned it. This isn't because, it's because you're good at your job. Anything else is projection. She studied me. Noah's with my neighbor, retired teacher, very sweet. He's safe. Thank you. For what? For being there when it mattered. It's my job. No, I said, watching Sarah's Uber pull away through the ballroom windows. It's not. Not anymore. Chapter 10. 2 weeks later, Sarah sat in my lawyer's office, her hand rubbing her stomach, a gesture that had become habit. 14 weeks pregnant now, showing just enough that hiding it required creative wardrobe choices. The test results lay between us on the mahogany table. DNA test, court-ordered, confirming what we already knew. David Kwan was the father. Well, Sarah's lawyer said, this simplifies things. Does it? Sarah asked. David's in federal prison. He'll be deported after. The baby will never know its father. The baby's better off, I said. Everyone looked at me, Sarah, her lawyer, my lawyer, the court-appointed mediator. That's harsh, the mediator said. It's honest. David Kwan is a violent criminal who poisoned the mother of his child. The baby wins by never knowing him. Sarah flinched. She'd been flinching a lot lately. The pregnancy, the public humiliation, the criminal investigation, it was wearing her down like water on stone. "We need to discuss custody," my lawyer said. "Of Noah." "Joint custody," Sarah's lawyer started. "Supervised visits," mine countered. "Given Mrs. Sterling's involvement in the money laundering, alleged involvement. Her signatures are on every document. She was manipulated. She was complicit." "Stop," Sarah said quietly. "Please, stop." Everyone turned to her. "Michael's right," she said, surprising everyone, especially me. "I was complicit. Maybe not in the money laundering, I genuinely didn't know about that, but in everything else. The affair, the lies, bringing David around Noah." Her lawyer started to object, but she waved him off. "I've been seeing Dr. Mills," she continued. "Therapy. Real therapy, not the couple's counseling sham. And I've realized something." She looked at me directly for the first time in 2 weeks. I was so desperate to feel young again, desired again, that I destroyed everything real for something fake. I chose a man who was poisoning me over a husband who, despite his flaws, never tried to kill me. "That's a low bar," I said. "But it's the bar I set." She pulled out a folder. "I'll accept supervised visits with Noah. 6 months, then we can revisit. I'll waive any claim to the production company, the houses, the investments. I just want enough to raise this baby." Her lawyer looked apoplectic. "Sarah, you're entitled to—" "I'm entitled to what I deserve," she said, "which, given what I did, isn't much." My lawyer slid papers across. "Monthly support for the child, health insurance, education fund." "Standard." "That's generous," Sarah said, reading the numbers. "The baby didn't betray anyone," I said. She signed quickly, like ripping off a bandage. Then came the custody agreement, supervised visits, therapy requirements, drug testing. "Drug testing?" she asked. "You were unknowingly drugged once. We need to ensure it doesn't happen again, knowingly or otherwise." She signed that too. Then came the divorce papers. 15 years dissolved in ink and paper. "There's one more thing," I said, pulling out an envelope. "A letter from Noah." Sarah's hands shook as she opened it. I'd read it already. Noah had asked me to check his spelling. "Dear Mom, Dad says you made bad choices. I make bad choices sometimes too, like when I put gum in Millie's hair. But Dad still loves me. I still love you too, even if you love Uncle David more than us. I hope the baby is nice. I'll be a good big brother. Love, Noah. P.S. Emma is teaching me to make pancakes. You can have some when you visit." Sarah broke then. Not the pretty tears she'd perfected for auditions, but ugly, body-shaking sobs that came from somewhere deeper than performance. "I'm sorry," she said, though it wasn't clear who she was apologizing to. "I'm so fucking sorry." The mediator offered tissues. The lawyers looked uncomfortable. I sat there feeling nothing and everything at once. "Sarah," I said finally, "the baby, have you decided on a name?" She looked up, mascara destroyed. "If it's a boy, James." After my father. "And if it's a girl?" "Grace." She laughed bitterly. "Because she'll need it, with parents like us. Like you and David." "No," she said, "like you and me. Because you're going to be in this child's life, whether you want to be or not. Noah's going to be a brother. You're going to be something. Not a father, no, but something. Uncle Michael, maybe. The man who saved Mommy from Daddy. That's not, it's exactly what you did." She stood, gathering her dignity like scattered pages. "You saved me from David, from myself, from choices that would have killed me and this baby. I was saving Noah. You were saving everyone. It's what you do. Produce outcomes, manage disasters, fix broken things." She moved toward the door, then stopped. "But Michael? Some things can't be fixed. Some things just have to be survived." She left then, heels clicking down the hallway like a fading soundtrack. The mediator started gathering papers. "That went better than expected." "Did it?" I asked. "She gave you everything. Custody, assets, the company. She gave me the ruins of our life. You can rebuild." I thought about Emma, working late at the office, preparing for Crimson Horizon. About Noah, in therapy but healing. About the baby growing in Sarah's womb, innocent of its parents' sins. Yeah, I said, we can rebuild. My phone buzzed. Emma. Noah's asking if you'll be home for dinner. I'm making spaghetti. I smiled the first real smile in weeks. On my way. As I left the lawyer's office, I passed the bathroom. Through the door, I could hear Sarah crying, talking to someone on the phone. I know, Mom. I know I fucked up. But the baby deserves better than what I gave Noah, better than what I gave Michael, better than David would have given anyone. I kept walking. Some conversations weren't meant for me anymore. Outside, Los Angeles stretched beneath a perfect sunset, the kind that made everything look like a movie, the kind that promised happy endings even when the script said otherwise. My phone rang. Emma. Hey, she said. Noah wants to know if we can watch a movie tonight. Something funny. Something funny sounds perfect. Michael? Her voice softened. Are you okay? I considered the question. My wife was pregnant with another man's child. My marriage was over. My son was in therapy. My business partner was in federal prison. But Noah was safe. Emma was there. The company would survive. The baby would be born into complicated love instead of simple violence. I'm good, I said, and meant it. I'm finally good. Good, she said, because Noah and I made popcorn and we're not eating it all ourselves. Save me some. Always. The word hung between us, loaded with possibility. I'll be home in 20, I said. Home. Not the house where Sarah and I had pretended, not the set where we'd performed our marriage, but home where Noah laughed, where Emma cooked, where life was messy and real and worth living. The sun set over Los Angeles, painting the city in shades of amber and gold. Somewhere, Sarah was driving to her sister's, carrying David's child and the weight of her choices. Somewhere, David was in a federal cell, learning that some debts can't be paid with money. But here, now, I was driving toward something better. Not a happy ending those were for movies, but a real ending, a human ending, the kind where broken people try to build something better from the pieces. Chapter 11. 1 month later, prison changed David Kwan about as much as marriage counseling changes serial cheaters, which is to say, not at all. He sat across from me in the federal detention center, orange jumpsuit hanging off his frame like a bad costume. The designer stubble was gone, replaced by patchy growth that made him look desperate. Which he was. You set me up, he said for the third time, like repetition would make it less true. You set yourself up, I corrected, noting how his hands shook slightly. Withdrawal from something, probably coke. I just documented it. The visiting room smelled like disinfectant and despair. Other inmates met with lawyers, families, the people still pretending to care. David had me. His lawyers had dropped him when the money ran out. His family in Taiwan had disowned him. Even the triads had cut ties bad for business, being associated with someone this sloppy. Sarah lost the baby, he said suddenly. I kept my face neutral, though the news hit like a sucker punch. When? Last week. She wrote me. He pulled out a crumpled letter, Sarah's handwriting visible through the thin paper. Bleeding started at 16 weeks. Doctors couldn't stop it. I thought about Sarah, alone in some hospital room, losing the baby she'd destroyed everything to create. The poetry of it was too perfect, too cruel, even for Hollywood. She blames you, David continued, watching my face. Says the stress of the divorce, the investigation, it killed the baby. She would. Doesn't it bother you? That she thinks you murdered our child? Your child, I corrected. And no. Sarah's relationship with accountability has always been casual. David leaned forward, and I saw something shift in his eyes, the mask dropping completely. You want to know the truth about that baby? David, I never wanted it. Told her to get rid of it from day one. But she thought it was leverage, a way to keep us together. He laughed, ugly and sharp. So I helped her along. Little pills and her prenatal vitamins. Not enough to cause suspicion, just enough to cause problems. You already admitted this. The misoprostol. No, before that. From the moment she told me, different drugs, untraceable ones my connections provided. His smile was pure malice now. The miscarriage wasn't your fault or mine. It was inevitable. I made sure of it from week 6. I recorded everything on my phone, hidden in my pocket but perfectly positioned. California might be two-party consent, but federal visiting rooms had different rules. Why tell me now? Because I'm getting deported in 3 weeks. Because Sarah won't answer my letters. Because I want someone to know how thoroughly I destroyed her from the inside out. You're proud of this? I'm practical. A baby would have complicated everything. The money, the business, my other interests. Other women. Other opportunities. He stretched, the chains on his wrists clinking. You know she wasn't the first wife I've fucked. Won't be the last either. You're going to prison in Taiwan. For 2 years, maximum. White-collar crime, first offense there. Then I'll be back to work. New name, new connections, new Hollywood wives to seduce. The guard signaled 5 minutes left. Why did you really come here? David asked. To gloat? To get closure? To give you something. I pulled out an envelope, slid it across the table. He opened it carefully, probably expecting legal documents. Instead, he found photographs. His ex-wife Jennifer smiling, holding hands with a new man. His parents in Taiwan, having dinner with another family. His childhood bedroom converted to a guest room. His brother taking over his position in the family business. You've been erased, I said quietly. Everyone's moved on. You're not even a memory anymore, just a cautionary tale. His face crumpled slightly, then hardened. Sarah will never move on. She'll always carry what we did. Maybe. But she'll carry it without you. And you? What will you carry? I stood to leave. Nothing. I'm not carrying anything of yours or hers anymore. Your son will remember. Uncle David, the man who played catch with him, who made his mother smile. My son remembers you as the man who went to jail for being bad. Kids are simple like that. The guard opened the door for me. As I left, David called out, Michael, she recorded us. Sarah. Every time. She has videos that would destroy you if they went public. I turned back. No, she doesn't. How do you know? Because Emma deleted them from the cloud 3 weeks ago. Sarah never was good with technology. His face went from smug to shocked. You can't. That's illegal. Report it. I'm sure the FBI would love to hear about more evidence you and Sarah created during your criminal conspiracy. I left him there, orange jumpsuit making him look like what he was, a small man who'd played a big game and lost everything. In the parking lot, Emma waited in her Prius, Noah in the back seat playing on his Switch. How'd it go? She asked. He confessed to poisoning the baby from the start, got it all recorded. Jesus. She looked back at Noah, making sure his headphones were on. That's beyond evil. That's David. Are you going to tell Sarah? I thought about it as we drove through downtown L.A., the city sprawling beneath gray skies that promised rain but never delivered. No, I said finally. She suffered enough. Let her think it was natural. That's unexpectedly kind. It's strategic. A destroyed Sarah is unpredictable. A guilty Sarah is manageable. Emma glanced at me. Is everything strategy with you? Not everything. Name one thing that isn't. I looked back at Noah, then at her. This, us, whatever this is becoming. She focused on the road, but I caught her small smile. That was almost romantic. I'm out of practice. You're doing fine. We drove in comfortable silence, the three of us in Emma's economical car, a far cry from the Teslas and Porsches of my marriage. But it felt more real, more solid. My phone buzzed. Sarah, need to see you. About the baby. I showed Emma. She shrugged. Your call. Dad? Noah pulled off his headphones. Can we get in out? Sure, buddy. Emma too? If she wants. I want, Emma said, catching Noah's eye in the mirror. Double, no onions. That's what I get, Noah said excitedly. These moments, small, normal, undramatic, were becoming everything. No cameras, no performance, just life happening without a script. I texted Sarah back, tomorrow, my office, bring your lawyer. 3 dots then. The baby's gone. Does that make you happy? I didn't respond. Some questions didn't deserve answers. She's hurting, Emma said quietly, reading over my shoulder at a red light. She's processing. That's cold. That's survival. Yours or hers? Everyone's. The rain finally started as we pulled into In-Out, fat drops splattering the windshield like tears from an indifferent god. Noah cheered. He loved the rain, loved anything that broke LA's relentless sunshine. Tell me something, Emma said as we waited in the drive-through line. If you could go back, knowing everything, would you still marry her? I thought about 15 years with Sarah. The early days when her laugh was real, Noah's birth, the moments between performances when we were almost honest with each other. Yes, I said, because it led to Noah, and eventually to this, to In-Out in the rain, to In-Out in the rain with people who don't pretend. Emma reached over and squeezed my hand, brief but real. We should probably talk about what this is becoming. We should. But not today? Not today. Noah leaned forward between the seats. Are you guys dating? We both froze. Because Tommy's dad started dating his assistant after his divorce, and Tommy says it's weird, but also better because she makes better lunches than his mom. We're figuring things out, I said carefully. Okay, Noah said, immediately losing interest. Can I get a milkshake too? The beautiful simplicity of 8-year-olds. My phone rang. Unknown number, but the 886 country code was Taiwan. Michael Sterling? The voice was accented but clear. This is David Kwan's brother. We need to discuss the money David stole from our family business. Emma looked at me, concerned. How much? I asked. 18 million US, hidden in accounts your wife helped create. The hits just kept coming. I'll call you back, I said, hanging up. What now? Emma asked. David stole from his own family, used Sarah's signatures to do it. Christ, how deep does this go? Deep enough to bury everyone involved. Including you? We're about to find out. The rain intensified, turning the world outside into an impressionist painting. Noah had put his headphones back on, oblivious to the latest plot twist in our real-life thriller. Whatever happens, Emma said quietly, we protect Noah. Whatever happens, I agreed. She pulled forward to the window, ordered our food with the casual efficiency I'd come to love. No drama, no performance, just getting things done. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a photo from Sarah, her in a hospital gown, face tear-stained but defiant. The caption, your son would have had a sister. The manipulation was so transparent it was almost insulting. But then, Sarah had never been subtle when she was desperate. I deleted the photo without responding. You okay? Emma asked, handing me my burger. Getting there, I said. Finally getting there. Chapter 12. 3 days later, Sarah looked like she'd been living on wine and Xanax, which she probably had. She sat in my office, designer bag worth more than most people's cars, but her roots were showing and her manicure was chipped. The small details that revealed the crumbling infrastructure. I lost the baby, she said without preamble. I heard. I'm sorry. No, you're not. I'm sorry for the baby. It didn't choose any of this. She laughed, bitter as burnt coffee. Nothing about that baby was choice. It was all David, from conception to conclusion. What do you mean? He drugged me the night it was conceived. I found out later going through my receipts. The dinner he took me to, there's a charge for Rohypnol on his card from that same day. I kept my face neutral, though rage built in my chest. You're saying he... I'm saying I don't remember that night clearly. I remember wanting to slow down, wanting to talk about where we were heading. Next thing I remember is waking up in his bed, him telling me how amazing I was. Sarah. And then the pregnancy. He was so happy at first, until he wasn't. Until he realized it was evidence, not opportunity. She pulled out her phone, scrolled to something. I hired a PI after everything fell apart. Found out about his other women. 3 of them lost babies while with him. All mysterious miscarriages around 16 to 20 weeks. He told me, I said quietly. About the pills. Her head snapped up. You knew? I found out 3 days ago. He confessed during a visit. And you didn't tell me? Would it have changed anything? She considered this, then deflated. No, the baby's gone. The reason doesn't matter. It matters for prosecution. I'm not prosecuting. I just want this over. Sarah, he destroyed me, I know, but I let him. I opened every door, signed every paper, believed every lie because I wanted to feel special again. She stood, walked to my window. The view of the studio lot spread below us, stages and offices and the machinery of dreams. Do you remember when we first met? She asked. That intern mixer at Fox? You spilled wine on my shirt. You laughed. Most producers would have had me blacklisted, but you laughed and said accidents make the best stories. They do. Was our marriage an accident or a story? Both. Neither. Does it matter now? She turned back to me. I need money. There it is. Not from you. I have information worth selling. The sex tapes with David? Her face went pale. How did you? Emma found them weeks ago. Cloud storage, Sarah. You saved them to our shared family account. She had no right. She had every right. My name was on the account. But don't worry, they're deleted. Permanently. You destroyed my insurance? I destroyed evidence of your affair that would have humiliated Noah when he got older. She sank back into the chair. I have nothing left. You have the settlement, the support payments. It's enough to live on. Not the way I'm accustomed to. Then become accustomed to less. Easy for you to say? You kept everything. I kept what I built. You kept what you contributed, which, financially speaking, was nothing. I gave you 15 years. You gave me 5, maybe 6. The rest you were shopping for replacements. My phone rang. David's brother again. I let it go to voicemail. Who keeps calling? Sarah asked. David's family. Seems he stole $18 million from them, using accounts with your signature. The color drained from her face entirely. What? You didn't know? I signed things, but I thought they were production accounts, film financing. They were theft, Sarah. International wire fraud, money laundering, the whole package. She grabbed my desk for support. They'll come after me. Probably. Michael, please, I can't. I don't have money for lawyers. Then I suggest you cooperate with the FBI. Full testimony against David. He'll have me killed. He's being deported in 2 weeks. After that, he's Taiwan's problem. His connections are cutting ties. Bad for business being associated with someone this messy. She started crying then, ugly sobs that shook her whole body. I've lost everything. The baby, you, Noah, my reputation, everything. Not everything. You're still alive, still free. That's more than David's previous girlfriends can say. Is that supposed to comfort me? It's supposed to give you perspective. Emma knocked, entered with Noah. He saw Sarah and stopped, uncertain. Hi, Mom, he said quietly. Hi, baby, Sarah managed, trying to compose herself. How are you? Good. Emma's teaching me coding. That's nice. The awkwardness was painful. Noah clearly wanted to leave. Sarah clearly wanted to hug him, and I was stuck managing both their needs. Noah, why don't you show Mom your latest drawing? I suggested. He pulled out his sketch pad, showed her a picture of a house with 3 figures standing in front of it. Him, me, and Emma. Sarah wasn't in it. That's beautiful, Sarah said, voice cracking. Who's that? She pointed at Emma's figure. That's Emma. She lives with us now. Sarah looked at me sharply. I shook my head slightly. Not what you think, not yet. She has her own room, Noah clarified. But she makes breakfast and helps with homework and stuff. Like a nanny? Like Emma, Noah said simply, as if that explained everything. Sarah stood to leave, gathering the shreds of her dignity. I should go. Mom? Noah said, I'm sorry about the baby. She froze, then knelt beside him. How did you, Dad told me? Said you were sad because the baby went to heaven. Yeah, she whispered. Yeah, the baby went to heaven. Maybe it's playing with Grandpa up there. Sarah hugged him then, fierce and desperate. Over his shoulder, she looked at me with something like gratitude. I love you, she told Noah. No matter what happens, I love you. I know, he said, pulling away gently. I love you too. She left quickly after that, heels clicking down the hallway like a countdown to nothing. That was hard, Emma said quietly. That was necessary. She's really broken. She's really dangerous. Broken people do desperate things. My phone rang again. This time I answered. Mr. Sterling, David's brother said, we've reviewed the accounts. Your wife's involvement is extensive. Ex-wife, and she was manipulated. Perhaps, but $18 million doesn't care about manipulation. What do you want? The money returned, or compensation? I don't have $18 million lying around. No, but your production company does. Your films, your assets. We're willing to negotiate. This is extortion. This is business. David created this problem. You benefited from his involvement in your company. Now you'll help resolve it. And if I refuse? Then your ex-wife will face charges in Taiwan. We have an extradition treaty with the U.S. for financial crimes over $10 million. I looked at Emma, who was listening intently while keeping Noah distracted with a game on her phone. I'll need time, I said. You have 1 week. Then we file charges. He hung up. How bad? Emma asked. 18 million bad. They want the production company as collateral. Can they do that? With the right lawyers and Sarah's signatures? Yeah, they can. So what do we do? I looked at Noah, absorbed in his game, innocent of the shitstorm brewing around him. We produce an outcome, I said. One that protects everyone who matters. And Sarah? Sarah made her choices. Now she gets to live with them. But even as I said it, I knew I couldn't let her burn completely. Not because I still loved her that was dead and buried, but because Noah loved her. And protecting Noah meant protecting his mother, even if she didn't deserve it. Emma, I said, how good are you at forensic accounting? Good enough to find what David hid? Good enough to prove Sarah was just a signature, not a conspirator? She smiled, that competent smile I'd come to depend on. Give me 48 hours. You have 24. Then I better get started. As she gathered her things, Noah looked up. Dad, is Mom in trouble? Mom made some mistakes, buddy, but we're going to fix them. Like how you fix the company. Exactly like that. He nodded, satisfied, and returned to his game. The beautiful simplicity of 80-year-olds, believing Dad could fix anything. The problem was, this time I wasn't sure I could. Chapter 13. 24. Hours later, Emma hadn't slept. I could tell by the 3 empty coffee cups on her desk, the way her usually perfect ponytail had devolved into a messy bun, and the manic energy in her eyes when she looked up from her laptop. I found it, she said simply. The money? Better. The trail. David moved the 18 million through 17 different accounts, each with Sarah's signature. But here's the thing, Sarah was in different cities when half these transfers were made. I can prove she couldn't have authorized them. He forged her signature? He cloned it. Digital authorization using her saved credentials, but the IP addresses are all from his devices, his locations. I felt the relief wash over me like a clean take after 20 blown ones. That's enough to clear her? Of criminal intent? Yes. Of stupidity? No. She gave him her passwords, Michael, all of them. Of course she did. My phone buzzed. Noah's school. My blood went cold. It was Saturday. There shouldn't be anyone calling from the school. Mr. Sterling, this is campus security. There's been an incident. Where's Noah? He's safe, but there was an attempted breach during his soccer practice. 3 men in a black van. They told the coach they were here to pick up Noah on your authority. We know. The coach followed protocol, called you first. The men left when he said he was calling police. We'll be right there. I grabbed my keys, Emma already packing her laptop. They're escalating, she said. David's connections or his brother's? Does it matter? We drove in tense silence, Emma calling her FBI contact while I navigated Saturday traffic. Noah's school was in Brentwood, all manicured lawns and helicopter parents, the kind of place where attempted kidnappings didn't happen until they did. Noah was in the principal's office, still in his soccer gear, grass stains on his knees. He ran to me the moment I walked in. Dad, these men said you sent them, but Coach Rodriguez said you always pick me up yourself on Saturdays. Coach Rodriguez was right. I held him tight, smelling sweat and grass and innocence. You did good, buddy. The principal, Mrs. Harrison, looked shaken. Mr. Sterling, we've increased security, but perhaps Noah should take some time off until this situation resolves. The situation, I said carefully, is that my ex-wife's boyfriend has criminal connections who are targeting my son. Are you equipped to handle that, or should I find a school that is? We're working with local police. Local police can't stop international crime syndicates. Emma stepped forward. We've arranged for private security. They'll be on campus Monday. Mrs. Harrison looked relieved. That would be helpful. Dad, Noah whispered, are we in danger? I knelt beside him. No, buddy. Some bad people are upset about business stuff, but I won't let anything happen to you. Is it because of Uncle David? Yes. I told you he was bad. You did. I should have listened better. We left through the back entrance, where Emma had already positioned the security team. She'd hired 2 ex-Marines who looked like they could bench press a Prius. This is expensive, I told her as we drove away, security following. Noah's safety isn't a budget item. Emma. I use my own money, my savings. This isn't a business expense, Michael. This is personal. I glanced at her, saw the fierce protectiveness in her eyes. You barely know us. I know enough. Enough for what? Enough to know that you and Noah are worth protecting. We drove to Emma's apartment. My house was too obvious, too exposed. Her place was small but secure, 2nd floor, multiple exits. Noah fell asleep on her couch within minutes, exhausted from soccer and stress. Emma covered him with a blanket, gentle as any mother. We need to end this, she said quietly. How? David's brother wants money. David's connections want silence. Sarah wants survival. There has to be a deal that gives everyone something. My phone rang. Unknown number. Michael Sterling? Who is this? Someone who can solve your problem. Meet me at Yamashiro in an hour. Come alone. That's not happening. Then your son's soccer practice will be more eventful next week. The line went dead. Emma was already pulling up Yamashiro on her laptop. Japanese restaurant in the hills, public, lots of tourists, probably safe. Probably isn't good enough. Then don't go. If I don't, we run. Take Noah, disappear for a while. That's not a solution. It's survival. I looked at Noah sleeping, innocent and trusting. Then at Emma, ready to fight for us despite having no obligation to. You stay with Noah, I said. Security stays here too. If I'm not back in 2 hours, I call the FBI and we disappear. You'd do that? Give up your life here? My life here is you and Noah now. The rest is just geography. I kissed her then. Not planned, not strategic, just necessary. She kissed back, soft but certain. Be careful, she whispered. I'm always careful. No, you're always strategic. There's a difference. Yamashiro perched above Los Angeles like a judge surveying a crime scene. The restaurant was packed with tourists taking sunset photos, oblivious to the real drama playing out. I found him at a corner table, Asian, expensive suit, younger than David's brother but with the same calculating eyes. Mr. Sterling, I represent interested parties in Taipei. David's family? David owes many people. His family is just the beginning. What do you want? The 18 million returned, plus interest. Call it 25 million total. I don't have that. Crimson Horizon will gross more than that in its first week. That's not my money. That belongs to investors. The studio details. You're creative. Find a solution. And if I don't? He pulled out his phone, showed me a video. Noah at soccer practice today, taken from distance but clear. The crosshairs digitally added were melodramatic but effective. Touch my son and... You'll what? Call the police? The FBI? They can't protect him forever. What if I could give you David instead? He paused, interested. David is being deported. To Taiwan, where he'll serve 2 years maximum. But what if he never made it to Taiwan? What if he disappeared between here and there? You're suggesting. I'm suggesting nothing. I'm asking what David's life is worth to you. He considered this. David knows where other money is hidden. Money that belongs to us. So you need him alive. Alive and cooperative. I can't help with that. But you can help with something else. He leaned forward. Your ex-wife. She has access codes David never shared, account numbers, passwords. Sarah doesn't know anything. She knows more than she realizes. We've been watching her. My blood went cold. If you've hurt her, we don't hurt women, bad for business, but we do apply pressure. What kind of pressure? He showed me another photo. Sarah leaving her sister's house, unaware of the car following her. Leave her alone. Convince her to cooperate. She'll never. She will if her son's safety depends on it. The threat hung between us like smog over the valley. You have 48 hours, he said, standing. Get us the account information or we take more direct action. This is extortion. This is business. David created debts. Someone has to pay them. He left money on the table for his untouched tea and walked out. I sat there watching the sun set over Los Angeles, the city lights beginning to twinkle like stars that had fallen and couldn't get back up. My phone buzzed. Emma, Noah's asking for you. Everything okay? I texted back. On my way. But I wasn't okay. None of us were. Because David Kwan, even from a federal cell, was still destroying lives. And the only way to stop him was to become him to lie, manipulate, and betray. Or to find another way. A producer's way. Control the narrative, manage the crisis, produce an outcome. I called Sarah. We need to talk, I said when she answered. About saving your life. Chapter 14. Sarah met me at Cedars-Sinai, the same hospital where she'd lost the baby. Poetic symmetry, or just Los Angeles recycling its locations. She looked worse than before, hollow-eyed, trembling slightly, clutching a coffee cup like a lifeline. They contacted me, she said without preamble. David's associates. They want account numbers I don't have. What did you tell them? Nothing yet. I've been hiding at my sister's, but they found me anyway. They find everyone. Even you? Especially me. We sat in the hospital cafeteria, surrounded by the walking wounded and their exhausted families. The fluorescent lights made everyone look terminal. I need you to think, I said. Did David ever mention offshore accounts? Numbers, banks, anything? He was careful around me, said it was for my protection. But you signed documents. Always on his tablet. Never saw the full documents, just signature pages. Sarah, they're threatening Noah. Her head snapped up. What? They tried to grab him at soccer practice. Oh, God. She covered her mouth. This is my fault. Yes, it is. She flinched at my bluntness, but I was past cushioning truth. But we can fix it, I continued. Emma found evidence that David forged your signatures. You're clear criminally, but his associates don't care about legal technicalities. So what do? We give them David. He's in federal custody. Not for long. He's being transported to deportation holding tomorrow. Highway 101, federal van, minimal security. How do you know this? Emma has connections. Sarah studied me. You're planning something. I'm producing an outcome. Michael, if you're thinking of, I'm thinking of saving our son, whatever that takes. She reached across the table, grabbed my hand. Hers was cold, shaking. I'm sorry for everything. David, the affair, the money. Stop. I need to say this. I destroyed us for nothing. For a man who was poisoning me, using me, who would have killed me eventually. Probably. I loved you once, really loved you. I know. Do you? Or do you think it was all performance? I thought about our early years, the struggling actress and the ambitious producer. The dreams we'd shared before success made us strangers. It was real until it wasn't, I said. Like most things in this town. My phone buzzed. Emma, they're here. Black van outside. I have to go, I said, standing. Michael, wait. Sarah pulled out a USB drive. I lied. I do have something. David gave me this for safekeeping. Said it was insurance. I took it, feeling its weight. What's on it? I don't know. It's encrypted. But he said if anything happened to him, I should give it to his brother. Why didn't you? Because I'm not stupid. It's probably worth millions, or it's evidence that would get me killed. Why give it to me now? Because you're the only person who might be able to use it to save Noah. I pocketed the drive. This doesn't make us even. I know. Nothing will. As I turned to leave, she called out, Michael? Emma, she's good for you. For Noah. I know. Take care of them. I always have. But walking out of that hospital, I wondered if that was true, or if I'd just been performing the role of protector while missing the real threats. Emma had moved Noah to a hotel downtown, anonymous, the kind that asked no questions if you paid cash. The security team was in the adjoining room, and she'd set up a mobile command center with 3 laptops and enough coffee to fuel a film shoot. The USB, I said, handing it over. She plugged it in, fingers flying over the keyboard. Military-grade encryption. This'll take time. We don't have time. Then we need help. She pulled out her phone, called someone. Jake, it's Emma. I need a favor, the kind that we don't talk about. 20 minutes later, a guy who looked like he lived in his mother's basement arrived with a backpack full of equipment I didn't recognize. This is Jake, Emma said. We don't ask what he does for a living. I don't exist, Jake said cheerfully, already connecting devices to the USB. And neither does this visit. Noah was watching TV, oblivious to the tension. Some cartoon about heroes saving the world. If only it were that simple. Got it, Jake announced after an hour. You want the good news or the bad news? Bad. This contains evidence of every crime David Kwan committed in the last 5 years. Murder, extortion, human trafficking. Human trafficking? The worst kind. Kids. I felt sick. Sarah had been sleeping with a monster. Noah had called him uncle. The good news? It also contains every account number, every password, every hidden dollar. About 50 million total scattered across 30 countries. 50 million? David was busier than you knew. Emma looked at me. This is it. This is what they want. This is what gets us all killed if we're not careful. My phone rang. The Taipei representative. 48 hours are up early, I said. Plans changed. David is being moved tomorrow. We need the information tonight. I don't have... Your ex-wife gave you something today. We know. We were watching. Then you know I just got it. And now you'll share it. Pier 47, 1 hour. Bring the drive. And if I don't, then Noah won't make it to 9. The line went dead. We can't give them this, Emma said. The evidence on here could save dozens of kids. But not ours. Michael, I know. I looked at Jake. Can you copy it? Already did, but they'll check for tampering. Then we give them what they want. But we keep insurance. That's dangerous. Everything about this is dangerous. Noah came over, climbed into my lap. Dad, when can we go home? Soon, buddy. I miss my room. I know. Is this because of Mom's bad choices? Kids. They understand more than we think. It's because of a lot of people's bad choices. Including yours? I thought about it. My choice to ignore the signs, to prioritize work over family, to trust the wrong people. Yeah, including mine. But you're fixing it, right? I'm trying. Mom says you always fix things. That's why she fell in love with you. Because you made everything better. When did she tell you that? At the hospital. When the baby went to heaven. I held him tighter. Sometimes things can't be fixed, buddy. Sometimes they can only be survived. But we'll survive, right? We'll survive. Emma met my eyes over his head. All of us, she said firmly. Pier 47 was deserted except for the homeless and the seagulls. The Taipei representative waited with 2 men who looked like they wrestled sharks for fun. The drive, he said simply. I handed it over. He plugged it into a laptop, scrolled through files. The accounts are here. Good. Now you leave us alone. After we verify the money is retrievable. That could take days. Yes. Until then, you're our insurance. That wasn't the deal. The deal is whatever keeps everyone alive. One of his men stepped forward, and I saw the gun under his jacket. However, the representative continued, I'm not unreasonable. David Kwan created this problem. He should solve it. He's in federal custody. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow he's in a transport van with minimal security. You're going to grab him? We're going to recover our property, but we need a distraction. What kind of distraction? The kind a Hollywood producer would create. Something cinematic. You want me to help you kidnap David? I want you to create a scenario where David disappears and nobody looks too hard for him. That's insane. That's justice. David stole from many people. He should answer to them. The FBI will be relieved. David's a problem they don't want to deal with. If he vanishes between here and deportation, they'll file paperwork and move on. I can't be involved in, you already are. Your ex-wife's signatures are on every document. Your company benefited from his crimes. You're neck deep in this whether you participate or not. He was right. We were all compromised, all guilty by association if not intent. What happens to David? He goes home, faces justice. Real justice, not American minimum security prison. You mean torture? I mean consequences. I thought about David poisoning Sarah's baby, threatening Noah, the trafficking Jake had discovered. What do you need from me? A distraction. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., Highway 101 near Thousand Oaks. Create something that stops traffic, draws attention away from the transport van. And then? Then David Kwan ceases to be your problem. And my family? Free and clear. The accounts in the drive will cover all debts. How do I know you'll keep your word? You don't, but consider the alternative. The gun under the jacket made the alternative clear. I'll need help, I said. Use whoever you trust. But remember, if this goes wrong, everyone connected dies. They left me on the pier, the ocean black and infinite behind me. I called Emma. How good are you at creating chaos? I asked. Better than I am at preventing it. Good. We're going to need a Hollywood ending. The kind where everyone lives. The kind where the right people do. Chapter 15. 6 weeks later. The Beverly Hilton ballroom glittered like a galaxy of fake stars, everyone dressed in designer constellations, pretending tonight meant something more than marketing. But for me, it did. Crimson Horizon was nominated for Best Picture. I was nominated for Best Director. And somewhere in federal custody, or rather, not in federal custody anymore, David Kwan was learning what real consequences felt like. The plan had worked perfectly. Emma had orchestrated a 3-car pileup on Highway 101, all stunt drivers, all insured, nobody hurt. While emergency services swarmed the accident, David's transport van had simply disappeared. The FBI investigation lasted exactly 2 weeks before being quietly closed. David Kwan was marked as escaped, wanted, but not actively pursued. He'd become someone else's problem. Taiwan's problem, specifically. The last I'd heard from my Taipei contact, David was alive. Beyond that, I didn't want to know. You look handsome, Emma said, adjusting my bow tie. She wore a midnight blue gown that made her look like she'd always belonged here, among the beautiful pretenders. But unlike them, she was real. Where's Noah? I asked. With Sarah in the family section. She's trying. Sarah had been released from psychiatric hold 2 weeks ago. The miscarriage, David's betrayal, and the financial investigation had broken something in her, but she was rebuilding slowly, with supervised visits and real therapy. And you're okay with her being here? She's Noah's mother. This is his night, too. The ceremony started, the usual parade of desperate relevance and forced enthusiasm. But when they called my name for Best Director, the world went silent. I stood, kissed Emma, and walked to the stage on legs that felt disconnected from my body. The lights were blinding, the audience a blur of expensive fabric and surgical enhancement. But I found Noah in the crowd, beaming, Sarah beside him crying real tears for once. This film, I began, the words coming unrehearsed, is about cutting away what's rotten to save what matters, about the lies we tell ourselves and the truths that destroy us, about choosing reality over performance. I looked at Emma. It's about finding something real in a city built on illusion. Then at Noah. It's about protecting what's innocent in a world that consumes innocence. Finally, at Sarah. And it's about forgiveness. Not for those who deserve it, but for those who need it to move forward. The audience applauded, probably thinking it was metaphorical. They had no idea. Crimson Horizon is dedicated to everyone who's ever discovered their life was a performance and chose to stop acting. I raised the statue. This is for the survivors. The applause was thunderous, but I was already walking off, done with the stage, done with the performance. Emma met me backstage, tears streaming down her face. That was, I kissed her, cutting off whatever she was going to say. When we pulled apart, Noah was there, Sarah behind him. Dad, you won! We won, I corrected, pulling him into a hug. Sarah stood awkwardly, unsure of her place in this new configuration. Congratulations, she said quietly. You deserved it. We all deserve something, I said. The question is whether we get it. I got what I deserved, she said. Consequences. And redemption? Working on it. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Debts paid. You're free. I showed it to Emma, who nodded. The Taipei situation was resolved. David was gone. The money had been recovered. We were free. Can we go home? Noah asked. I'm tired. Yeah, buddy. Let's go home. We left together, me, Emma, Noah, even Sarah for part of the way. The cameras caught us, tomorrow's headlines writing themselves, Director's Modern Family, or some such bullshit. But for once, I didn't care about the narrative. In the limo, Noah fell asleep against Emma's shoulder. Sarah sat across from us, looking out at Los Angeles, passing by. Do you think he's dead? She asked quietly. David. Does it matter? I loved him, or thought I did. That matters even if it was wrong. Love isn't wrong. The people we choose to love sometimes are. Did you ever love me? Really? I thought about lying, giving her something comfortable, but we were past that. I loved who I thought you were. You loved who you thought I could make you. We were both wrong. And now, I looked at Emma, her hand in mine, Noah safe against her side. Now we know better. Sarah nodded, accepting the verdict. I'm moving to Portland. My sister's there. Fresh start. What about Noah? Visits, holidays, whatever the court allows and he wants. She smiled sadly. I need to become someone worth visiting. The limo stopped at her sister's apartment first. As she got out, she turned back. Emma, she said, take care of them. I will. And Michael? That ending you gave the film, sometimes the best revenge is building something better that's good writing. It's better living. She walked away, designer heels clicking on concrete, disappearing into a life without us. You okay? Emma asked. Getting there. It's a process. Everything is. Noah stirred, mumbled something about wanting pancakes. Tomorrow, Emma promised. I'll make you pancakes. With chocolate chips? All the chocolate chips. He smiled in his sleep, safe and loved and untouched by the darkness we'd navigated to keep him that way. The city sprawled around us, millions of stories playing out simultaneously, most of them performed, few of them real. But this Emma's hand in mine, Noah's trust in our protection, the honest messiness of our improvised family, this was real. No cameras, no script, no performance. Just life, continuing despite everything. The limo drove on through Los Angeles, carrying us home. End of part 3.